The name's Max. Run a little show on the internet called EntrepreNerd. It's a lot of fun. Basically, I'll pull it up really quickly. Yeehaw. EntrepreNerd blog. It's a little live stream where I basically build tiny little startups to show people how to build their own. I'm not building like the next Amazon or the next Uber or anything fancy like that, but I don't program anything. I build little websites, I build little apps, I publish them to the market. I do a little bit of marketing and I try to get some traction on it. And some of the startups that we've built have been moderately successful, but it's not hard to start something. It is remarkably not hard, especially if it's a small idea or if it's pretty niche. And that's what I do. It's a lot of fun. And I work with a lot of universities. And what we're going to be doing today is just kind of walking through the process of how to quickly test an idea that you have. It could be the next Amazon. But there's a quick little process that I like to walk through just to get something out into the world and get feedback immediately, and then potentially actually find some customers. And you don't need to build anything. It's not complicated. It's super quick. So a little bit of background on that. A lot of people, especially a lot of students, like to just jump into their idea, especially CMU, a lot of CMU kids that I know just like to start building things, right? Like you have an idea, you jump right into it. And that if you're trying to build like the next Amazon or something really huge and crazy, that could take like months and tons of time and tons of effort. And it's great to build something and put it out into the world. But the biggest reason that startups fail, if you hung around the Schwartz Center a lot, you already know this. The biggest reason that startups fail is because they don't solve a problem in the world that is shockingly common. Like I don't buy a water bottle unless I'm really, really thirsty, right? I don't get a mug unless I have absolutely nothing to hold my coffee in the morning for, right? I don't do things or purchase things or spend money unless it's solving a big problem in my life. And that is what a lot of people really miss. And there's processes to learn those problems and figure those out called customer discovery. There's a whole thing about that. And I can totally go into that more if anybody wants me to. But we're going to kind of hack it on the internet to see if people want our thing and test it and experiment with it before we go and we spend a bunch of money, before we go and we spend a bunch of time building something, just to make sure that people would like this thing and actually consider buying it before we spend a bunch of resources and time and effort. So it's not a replacement for customer discovery, which is like going and interviewing customers and really figuring out what the heck problems they're dealing with and like understanding fully what's working in their brain. There's a whole process to doing that. And this is not a replacement. It's just kind of like a skip or a supplement to customer discovery. Cool. Does that sort of make sense? Are there any questions on that? Cool. Yes.
You constrain it to what you're able to do in 90 minutes.
Great question. I'm going to try to expand it a little bit like sooner. I think at the end of October, I'm going to try to stream like 3 times a week and give myself a lot more time to build things. No, usually I build as much as I humanly can on that 90 minutes. And then I go and maybe build some stuff in the background. Usually I try to, if I can't finish it one week, I'll work on it a little bit the next week. Some ideas though, I've straight up been able to finish in 90 minutes, no problem, get them out there and see what happens. And you'll see how quick it is to test something in the world and experiment with it. But yeah, I also use a lot of like, what is it? What was a good example? I use a lot of no-code tools. I can't program for the life of me. I use a lot of no-code tools, and I've gotten really good at these to like quickly build things like apps or programs or little like SaaS products. So that helps me spin things up really quickly. But yeah, you'd be shocked how much you can build in 90 minutes. But lately I've been tackling slightly larger ideas, and I end up getting close or not finishing or finishing it the next week. And yeah, so it's not always perfect on the dot. But yeah, rock on. Good question. Sweet. So the way that we're going to test these ideas, we have the idea fully formed in our head. The way that we're going to test it is we're going to fake it on the internet. And this is actually a really, really common strategy. We're going to pretend that our idea exists. Like I have a new idea for the next Amazon or whatever the heck. I'm just going to make it look real. And I'm going to see if people try to buy it. And I'm going to show you how to do that right now. And this is actually a really common thing. Like when you see trailers for movies or trailers for video games, the video game or movie is not done. They've barely started. All they've done is made the trailer, and they're just putting it out there to see if people care. Like the Sonic movie. I don't know if everybody saw anything about the Sonic movie, but like they put out a trailer for the Sonic movie and Sonic looked gross. And everybody on the internet was like, that's horrible. Fix it. And they were like, cool. And they fixed it. And they were like, didn't you have to redo the whole movie? And they were like, no, we didn't start. And that's everything. That is how everything works. And like Dropbox also use this method. Dropbox is like $1 billion company, huge, wonderful company like Google Drive, but for sharing files. You've probably used Dropbox. They famously started with a little website and a video on that little landing page that made it look like their product existed when it did not whatsoever at all. It was just a concept, and they had a wait list. Sign up for the wait list now, or like a sign up for the beta. You're on a wait list or something along those lines. And then tons of people signed up, and they were like, "Oh shoot, we need to go build this," and so they built it. All right, so we're gonna fake it. So I'm gonna show you how to do that. And it should only take, if you have a little practice with it, it should really only take an hour. So the first tool I'm gonna show you is Card. You can use Wix, you can use WordPress, you can use whatever the heck you like. I really like Card because it's free and really, really beautifully easy to use. So I'm gonna go choose a starting point. I don't have my login on this computer, so I'm not gonna be able to publish it completely, but I'll be able to do most things. This is just starting from a blank canvas. I would probably recommend starting from like a template. Templates are really nice. I'm gonna add some text, add a container, make that container into columns. This is gonna look really stupid, but it's gonna showcase what we want to do as an example. Add a little list over there. I'm going to slap in a button, drag it to the bottom, stay there. I'm gonna make this bigger because it's gonna be a title. We go back up to here, let's say we're doing, our startup idea is I usually use a skateboard as an example, the super skateboard. Maybe my theory that I'm solving in the world, the problem that I'm solving is I think that a lot of skateboarders break their skateboards whenever they're doing stuff, right? So I'm gonna make a stronger skateboard. So we'll call it not just the super skateboard, but the invincible. How do you spell invincible? It probably is. The invincible skateboard. We'll say something like, never ever break your board again. Stay safe. Rock tricks. I'm not a skateboarder, if that's not obvious. I don't know what I'm talking about, but we're giving it our best dang shot. Container. I'm gonna make this centered actually. I believe in myself. Top. Very cool. And then maybe down here we'll say like titanium alloy board, and then we'll say something like carbon fiber wheels. I think it's fiber. How do you spell it? And third item, whatever. And I'm going to go to Google Images. You should probably pull from like a place that's royalty free. I usually just pull stuff off of Google. I've been yelled at by professors before about that. Whatever. I'm going to pull this. This is cute. Yeah, it's a little cute. To save image as. Downloads. Cool. Neato burrito. We'll plug it in here. Upload. I'm gonna go to downloads, skateboard, open. Make it slightly cuter. Accept. Cool. Nice. Looks dumb. Whatever. I would make this obviously look a whole lot more professional if I was seriously trying this. You want people to think this is real. But the point is, it exists, right? This is done. If I wanted this to be done, I click the little save icon up here. I create an account, or if I already have an account, I just click publish and I give it a little domain name for free. And then my website is up on the internet. It's just done. So as long as you put in a little bit of time to make it look sufficiently awesome and sufficiently realistic, I would actually probably go to other like skateboarding websites, and like maybe this looks like a product page. So I might go to flaghouse.com or wherever, look at what's common on other skateboarding sites, kind of match that vibe a little bit. So people that are skateboarders take it seriously when they go there. I would put a slight amount of effort into making it look legit, but then you're done. You have a website, sweet. Next step. So you have a website. People don't just find websites. There's no such thing as like build it and they will come. We need to market this somehow, right? We need to get this into the hands of people, our ideal customers, and see what they think, right? So first of all, let's add something slightly, because if people are visiting this, we want them to just like we want them to do something on this website, right? Not just visit it. We want to be able to collect feedback. Like they visit it, we're not going to be able to track if they just see it and like it. We need to be able to tell if they like it. So I'm going to add a pricing button here. Let's say buy now. Maybe like $100, right? Something like that. Not 1,000. That's way too much. Cool. Buy now, $100. That looks awesome. Then let's go collect some information. Let's go to, what's a free form tool? Forms. I wonder if we're logged into a Google account here. Forms. Aha. Let's see if I can sign in. My password's different. Heck. So what I would do basically is you'd go to basically any of your favorite form tools. I like Jotform. It's just one of the ones that I use. There's Paperform, there's Typeform, there's Google Forms. If you've ever used like SurveyMonkey before, it's the same concept. You just create a little form and you would say something along the lines of, hey, this is a beta sign up form. Super glad you're interested in the product. Let's sign you up, right? We are currently manufacturing the first round of our product, the first round of our awesome skateboards. We would just love to grab your email or your phone number or your Instagram handle, whatever. So we can contact you when the first round comes out, right? Does that sort of make sense? You just pop that in the URL section of the button, make a little form, and then stick it in there. The point of that is they visit this, they click on that button, and they're fully convinced. Like if I went to a website that looked more legit, of course, if I went to a website that said buy now $100, and I click on that button, I expect like a credit card form to pop up, right? That's just what you expect to do on the internet. So if they click that button and they view that form, they were probably intending to buy your product, which is awesome. That's great feedback. We can get that to happen. That's huge, right? We haven't made anything. We haven't spent any money. We haven't like spent any time. But if we can improve that, then that's really, really great feedback on our idea. And then we can grab their email. That would be beautiful because now we have customers, right? We have customers before we built anything at all, and that's even huger. So not only do we get feedback, but you're hopefully able to find customers if you do it right. But yeah, sorry, I can't pull up the form tool. I should have prepared a little bit heavily more beforehand. But just stick the little form thing in there. Great, republish it. You're done. Now it's all ready. Now we're collecting information. We're prepared. We're gathering honest feedback from that website as long as we can get people there. So now you get people there. I go to 3 wonderful, wonderful places on the internet. Reddit.com. Got a lot going on there. I will go to Google and I'll go to Facebook groups. This is where I would also go. I don't think we can pull up Facebook groups because we need to log in. It's not really super necessary. You'll get the point as we're scrolling through Reddit. On Reddit, I'm going to type in something like skateboard, right? Let's see, communities and users. What do we got? The goal of this is to find all the places that my customers or my ideal customers are already hanging out on the internet. There's always going to be communities, no matter how niche you are. So I typed in skateboard because those are our ideal customers, and boom, we have electric skateboarding, new skaters, skateboard, r/skateboarding with 416,000 members, skater girls, skateboards, longboarding, boosted boards, electric skateboards, skateboard love. All of these have thousands and thousands of members in them. And they're the people that we want to contact. Awesome. So that's a great start. Now we have like 10 communities right here. We're gonna do the same thing on Google. We're gonna go skateboarding forums. See if there's anything there. We have a little thing in here, top 10 skateboarding forums, discussion and message boards. Boom, we have another 10, right? Awesome, so that's 10 more communities. And then Facebook groups also has a shockingly large amount. I usually can find 20 for any given like topic area. So great, awesome. Now we have like 20 to 40 different groups for our given little sect, our little niche, our little whatever, right? Neato. Now, you obviously can't just post something in a group and say, hey, go visit my website, especially on places like Reddit. They will eat you. Reddit is a brutal, brutal place. So we're going to be a little more sly with it. I typically, let me actually see if I can find one of my old posts on here. Give me 2 minutes. Minecraft. This is a really old dumb idea that I did. Posts. Is it here? It doesn't look like it's here. Posts from all time. No. Well, I believe. I trust. Maybe it's here. I'd probably search for my user specifically. I'm not great at Reddit if that's not already painfully obvious. Maybe let's look for, I think that's my people. Yes, this is the fella. I'll go for posts. Yes, yes. Oh, where is it? Here we go. This is one of my old, super dumb ideas that actually worked a little bit. The initial idea was, let me see, I think the website's still up, co-mining.card. I published this in a free little card account. Very silly idea. And I think I deleted one of the forms that was already embedded in here. But the basic idea is a little co-working space on Minecraft. I don't know if anybody's ever played Minecraft. I still play Minecraft. Huge part of my childhood. Wonderful time. They recently made an update where now there are frogs, which is very exciting. Anyway, dumb little idea. COVID was happening. Co-working was really, really popular before COVID. And I thought, okay, maybe I can make a virtual co-working space. Like there were like 20 other people on the internet that were also doing the same thing. But I was like, okay, maybe I can make mine on Minecraft. That's an easy place to make virtual spaces. Cool, fun idea, whatever. I spent half an hour making it look legit, right? So I took a few screenshots of what was supposed to be a co-working space, and I spent half an hour on it. That's it, right? I did this all on the live stream. Well, just enough that I needed to make it look real. So you get your own desk, a few signs to say who you are and what you do. And then I put sign up forms that are now deleted. But I put this and I linked it here. I didn't directly link it. I just talked about the idea. I asked questions. Could I use Minecraft for co-working? Do you think this idea is a good idea? What do you think? I'm not the expert. You are the expert. You're an awesome, amazing human being on Reddit. I need your advice. I am but a lowly, dumb person on the internet trying to create things. Phrase it like that. Honestly, ask for feedback. Ask people to roast you, and be mean, and like, don't phrase it like you know what you're talking about at all, because we want people to yell at us. We want people to get like excited or frustrated or annoyed or whatever, because the more comments we get, the more people see it. Wonderful. Plus we get honest feedback. If people do yell at you on the internet, it can be helpful regardless. So I asked that question. I talked a little bit about the idea and the problem that it theoretically solves. I asked for people's feedback, and then I said, like, I've got a little sign up form going if you're interested in joining the experiment. I shouldn't have even said that. I should have just said, what do you think? Right? Give me feedback. I got a ton of comments. A lot of people really liked it. A lot of people were roasting me, and they were like, people already tried that. That's dumb. Who cares? But a lot of people were like, hey, there's some other fun little ideas that you can include, right? Somebody actually had an idea. Somebody built their office building in Minecraft to hang out in there for socializing. And I think they even had a Discord server that let them chat nearby. So I got a ton of really, really cool ideas from this, right? And it was awesome. And the way that I actually promoted the website that I created on card right here, right, is I had one of my friends, or you can use a second account, go and comment something like, where was it? Love this idea. What's the IP? In this case, it's an IP address for the server. But in this case, in any other case, they'd be like, oh, do you have any beta products? Are you building anything? Like, have you started to do this? Is there any way that I can get in early? Like, have somebody jump on and pretend to be really excited, right? Now you're not self-promoting. Now you're just supporting the community, right? And so at least that's what it looks like from the outside. And so of course I comment back from my original account. Oh my God, I'm so glad you're interested. Thank goodness. Here's the sign up form, and you link to your website, right? Boom, cute, wonderful. Now you're not self-promoting. Now you're not going to get banned from every single place you post. You might still get banned from some because people are very angry on Reddit again. But you're going from this little one post. I think I got like 30 signups. I had people hopping on the server, and we experimented, and we had a good time. It was really cool. So that was free. That was super fun. There are 40 other communities that I could post in around co-working and or Minecraft and or professional networking online, right? So next week, if I want to, I'm going to make a slightly new post. I'm going to post it to all the other communities that I didn't do well in, right? So like most of the places you're going to post these, they're not going to do amazing, right? I think I posted this to 2 other different locations, nothing, crickets, no comments, like 1 upvote, whatever, right? That's going to happen most of the time, like 99% of the time, but one of them each week might do really well. So if you want to test again next week, make some edits to the website based on the feedback that you got. And the number of signups you got. If you got no signups, change the website a lot. You got a lot of signups, change the website maybe a little, just based on some feedback that you get in the comments, and then try it again. And then keep doing that until you get a whole bunch of success, until people really, really like the idea and you get more signups. And no pressure to do it again, but just this little one thing takes you about an hour overall to write a decent post, make a cute little website, publish it in the right places. And now you have feedback. You potentially even have customers, and you can start building your thing with a whole lot more confidence in what you're heckin' doing. Cool. Neato. I blitzed through that. I was supposed to be talking for a whole lot more time. That's more or less all I wanted to go over. I can totally walk over some other things like how to build things with no code, how to like do deeper marketing campaigns, whatever else. But are there questions? Are there anything? No pressure.
So I imagine you've done a lot of these very quick ideas. On some of the ones that have received significant positive feedback, further, or what do you do?
Great question. Yes. Usually the next step is to take it further. Then, like, for instance, with this one, this is again a very silly idea. But once I got all that positive feedback, once I got all those signups, I was like, oh shoot, people are interested, right? And it was only 30 signups, and they're just email signups. Nobody was offering to pay me anything. I didn't put a pricing button like we did on here, right? If I got 30 people trying to buy something for $100, it's huge, right? So it's a lot easier to get email signups. But for me, 30 email signups of people that were genuinely interested seemed like enough to invest the amount of time that it needed to make just a little Minecraft server, right? So I spent like 4 more hours that week just, whipping something up with a couple of friends, and we went for it, right? I attempted. Turns out a lot of the people that were in the 30 signups were like all in different places in the world, so time zones were a little bit different to manage, and I learned a lot more about what needed to happen and how to manage that kind of community. So I was able to, we took it further, we experimented, and we saw what happened. If I was actually going with this skateboard idea, honestly, having 4 people sign up for $100, right? Honestly, assuming that you're going to charge them that much is pretty awesome. That's huge. And so for 4 people, I'd be like, okay, I'll spend $400-ish bucks or $300-ish bucks trying to whip up a few prototypes and see if I can get it out there, see if I can sell it to them, right? Offer full refunds if they don't like the product, be really, really cool with your early customers. But I would start to invest the time necessary and the resources necessary, and maybe even some money necessary, once you get to the point where people are offering you money, right? They're offering to pay for this thing that you are theoretically creating. Because so many people do not get there. They make a product, they spend a bunch of money building the product, it goes nowhere. Now you put yourself in a crummy financial situation, and you are able to experiment less. So, Rick, I think I see your hand up. What's up? I think you're muted.
Hi, I have a question. Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
So during the process, when you present your idea on the internet and ask people for, interest, how do you deal with if say 1 people saw your idea and it is really like an interesting one, and then somebody just use your idea and become your, competitor?
Great question. So that's one of the biggest concerns that I get with this typical idea. Like, aren't you just putting your idea out there for people to steal, right? I personally, this is my personal bias, this is entirely my opinion. You can take it with as much salt as you like. I've interviewed over 100 different entrepreneurs in tech and other industries. The first thing that they did ever, 90% of them, when they were starting their idea, was go and tell everybody about it. They had built nothing. They had started nothing. Nothing was out there. They didn't even have a website, but they had this dumb idea. And they went and they talked to everybody about it. I know even people that have gone into competitors and been like, what if I started this? And they get a ton of feedback. And nobody that I've ever seen has ever actually gotten their idea stolen. I don't know where that concept came from, but I've never actually seen it happen. Again, my personal network, my personal bias, just my kind of thing. I test all my ideas online. I build my things on a live stream, for heck's sake, right? Like I do not care if people try to steal my thing. So that's my personal bias. I've never actually seen it happen. Somebody go and take it. Usually you have to have really internal excitement about it. You personally have to have that kind of vision. And it's almost impossible to find anybody else that is suddenly like, oh my gosh, I love that idea more than anything I could have ever come up with myself. I'm going to go snag it. So I've never seen it happen. It is a good question. The nice thing is you've already built a bit of a moat because if you make it look professional and legit, even if somebody wants to steal your idea, they're not going to know that you're not ready yet. Because a lot of people on the internet have already gone to different websites and been like, sign up for the beta. And when I sign up for a beta, like, even though I know they're probably doing this, like my initial assumption is, shoot, wow, they probably already have investors or something. Like I think that, you know what I mean? So making your thing look legit on the internet, in my opinion, probably protects you more than it gives them the opportunity to steal from you. Again, personal opinion, totally depends. That's my kind of perspective on it though. So I've never seen it happen. I don't think it's an issue. It could be. And if you're worried, you can lie on the website and make it seem like you're way bigger than you are. And that would probably deter people. But people don't ever jump in on ideas unless there's already tons of money and success in it, from my experience, right? Lyft didn't pop up until Uber had already raised a ton of cash, right? And that's just typically how it happens in the market. So that's my opinion. That's a great question, Rick. I hope that answers your question. Keith, what you got?
Sorry, yeah, you just mentioned something about making sure that it looks legit, or getting to the place where it looks legit. And I was just wondering about the design side here, because visual can be kind of a time sink. And so I was wondering about any tips or thoughts about how to quickly make something look nice and get to that point without sinking much time there.
Super good question. Yeah, so I'm pretty garbage at design. There's no like design tips that I'm going to be able to give you specifically. The best thing that I can say is one, just hardcore cheat by going to like buy skateboards online, right? Buy skateboards online. Let's say Skate Warehouse, right? Let's go to this website. Let's see how it's branded. Okay, pretty simple. But this is one of the bigger skateboarding websites, according to what I was able to find on Google. And so just making it look simple and legit like this, maybe I'll copy a bit of the UI functionality here. Just dark, black and white, simple, showcase the board as much as possible, as opposed to just like this view, right? So maybe I'll find some vertical board positioning to make it, like, apparently that's how they're marketed. Yeah, so cool. That's a nice little start. I would scan other skateboarding websites to see how they look and maybe copy some of their little elements, because this is what people expect when they shop for skateboards online. Great, that's a nice little step. And then second, if we go back to, oh, that's way better. If we exit here, yes, I'm gonna exit and delete all that. When you start on Card or really any other website builder, they're gonna give you like 100 different templates. And actually I have a little tool called beta.co that I built. This is a little website, beta.co, that I built to help find different templates across no-code tools. So let's say I am starting a landing page. I click on landing page, and then it's going to give me like hundreds of different options with their different costs on different tools, right? So Shopify like landing page, cool, $0 in Bubble. Stark, this one's $24 on Webflow. This one's $0 in Bubble. So I can find a bunch of different landing pages that already look legit. I don't have to do any work. I just have to put in different little bits of information. So put in a title, change the description, change whatever. That's usually how I make things look awesome, right? I don't try to design something from scratch. It's just, like you said, it's a huge time sink. And there's a shocking amount that you can build really quickly with all these different tools. And probably just with Card, because you can kind of scroll through here. Like there are a lot of really nice little product templates. I like this one. It's super cute. It is a pro plan, so you do need a pro plan. I do have the pro plan, so that's personal bias. There's another good one that's free. I think this one's pretty decent. It's just like a nice little thing with a few images. So it means create multiple images. It should work fine. Yeah, I would just roll through and find a nice little template that you think looks awesome, that you think is legit, and work from there. Random app is one that I've used in the past, and that looks really nice. So yeah, templates and copy and paste as much UI as you possibly can, or at least design ideas from similar websites on the internet. Those are the two things I can recommend. Yeah, I wish I had something a little bit more concrete, but that's the best I can do. Yee, cool, got a thumbs up. Awesome. What's up?
So what you described here is pretty much like what Kickstarter does, where you actually build your product portfolio page and you invite people to give you money. Why would you recommend this approach as opposed to a Kickstarter approach, or would you recommend this approach over Kickstarter?
Great question. So for Kickstarter, only really works for specific kinds of ideas. You could totally do a Kickstarter, absolutely. Let me go over a quick little thing about Kickstarter. Kickstarter is basically just like this. It's almost exactly the same in the sense that nobody's going to find it unless you promote it. There's this big myth that you start a Kickstarter and if everybody loves it, if it's a great idea, then everybody's just going to find it and put a bunch of money in and you're great, right? And it's never happened ever. Maybe that happened like in the beginning of Kickstarter, which everybody was really excited, but it has never happened since. I know entire people whose jobs are Kickstarter consultants to help people build those large marketing campaigns before you launch anything. It's very much just a place that people can pre-buy and is not like a marketing tool whatsoever, at least from what I understand. So there's a lot of myths around that. So that's just a little thing, good thing to know. They're very similar in that sense, right? It's just essentially a landing page. You have to prove a little bit more on a Kickstarter because people are very, very cautious about, is this real yet? Like you have to create a video, you have to make it look super legit and awesome. The product also has to be extremely consumer, right? Like very, very, you buy a thing, it's cool, it's exciting. Only certain products really fit that vibe on Kickstarter. And so if you have something that maybe is a B2B thing, or it's a service, or it's a SaaS product, right? People don't really put SaaS products on Kickstarter. They put physical little things that you can buy and hold in your hand, right? So if it doesn't fit the Kickstarter vibe, this is by far better. If it does fit the Kickstarter vibe and you have the ability to make a video and you are planning on putting a good amount of marketing behind it, I would totally do a Kickstarter, right? But I've heard that running a Kickstarter just as a test makes people on the platform think dumpy of you. So if you do want to do a Kickstarter in the future, you want to like nail it hard on the first try. I don't know a ton about Kickstarter. I've never launched a Kickstarter campaign. I just know consultants. I've talked to them and I've interviewed them. Grain of salt. I don't necessarily know what I'm talking about there. But yeah, if it fits the vibe of Kickstarter and you can make a solid video and you can put a little bit more effort into it that you would need for Kickstarter, then it's essentially very similar. But this works for all ideas, right? Even business to business or business to government, things like that. People will still take you seriously in this kind of format. So super good question. I hope that answers it. It's a great idea. Yeah. Cool. Any other questions?
Some other customer discovery methods that you're
Mhm. Awesome. That sounds great. Yeah. So for those of you that don't know, in the beginning, I talked a little bit about like customer discovery, and that's this isn't a replacement for that. And it's super important. Customer discovery is the process of going and finding problems in the world, right? And there's a very specific process that scholars and entrepreneurs and a bunch of people have outlined to make that most effective. It's like a scientific process. Basically, what it is we have a startup idea. Great. We're not going to say jack about our startup idea. We're not going to say anything about it. We're not going to put anything in anybody's heads. It doesn't exist. We are going to go, and in this case, let's use the skateboarding idea as an example. I'm going to go and I'm going to talk to 50, ideally 100 different skateboarders for like an hour each. And I'm going to ask them, what are your problems? When you're going to skateboard in the morning or in the day or wherever, walk me through that process. What do you do in the morning when you know you're going to skateboard? Walk me through that whole day. What is the biggest problem that you encounter when you're skateboarding? What's the most expensive thing? What's the most time consuming thing? What's the most frustrating thing? What annoys you the most every time you have to do skateboarding? Is it carpooling and getting to the actual skate park? Is it, I always break my dang board? That's what I want to hear, but I'm not going to talk about it at all, right? You ask tons and tons of questions about what current solutions they're using, what problems they're having, what's frustrating, what's annoying, and you're looking for every single person that you interview to say the same thing, right? You're looking for them all to have a really common, really painful issue. That's the ideal. So what I ideally want to hear is that every single person, I just ask them these really open-ended questions. I'm like, what are the most frustrating things about skateboard. And like all of them get back to me and they're like, oh, I break them all the time. I constantly am breaking my skateboard, and then my hypothesis is correct, right? Beautiful. They do need a stronger skateboard, or maybe they need a skateboard repair kit or something along those lines, right? 99% of the time, you go there with your idea, you talk to them, you get totally different answers. You get something like, actually, I'm always scraping my knees when I'm skateboarding. And a lot of then I ask, okay, well, if you're always scraping your knees, I hear this from like 10 different people. Are you using like skate pads? Are you using like knee pads? And like, yeah, but they don't fit right. Like nothing I've tried like 10 different kinds. Nothing really fits right. And I hear that a lot. Then heck, my skateboard idea, right? There needs to be better knee pads, right? So that's what I should go with, right? But the process of customer discovery is just doing these in-depth interviews where you honestly ask very open-ended, non-leading questions about their general problems and frustrations in that activity, right? In this case, it's skateboard. And you want to hear the same thing over and over, people complaining about some really frustrating specific thing that hasn't been solved yet or hasn't been solved well. And then that should be your product, because that's the thing that people are going to buy, because people only buy things if it's fixing a really, really big frustrating problem for them. That's the process. I've built courses on this for schools. If anybody has any specific, like it wants to learn like deep more about it, I have an little open source course that I sold to a school in Australia because they wanted me to build, and they worked with like Steve Blank and like a lot of other things. And CMU is also amazing at customer discovery. They drill this into entrepreneurs constantly, so there's plenty of resources you can find here. But if you want the little video series that I built on it, I could totally also pass that to you. But yeah, hope that answers your question. It's a great question. Yeah, customer discovery is important. This is not a replacement. This is just a nice little test. Yeehaw. Any other questions?
Do you do any other marketing strategies besides like Facebook groups, Reddit, and Google?
Yes. Oh, so for these little ideas, the reason that I recommend Card is because it's free. And the reason that I recommend Reddit and Facebook and Google is because it's free, right? I don't want you to spend any money or really any time testing your idea, because you just need to get out there and get feedback and heck it, right? So usually this is just a cheap first little idea, right? And I don't want you to spend a ton of cash on it. Other marketing strategies often take a whole lot of time, or at least a good bit of money, right? The other ones that I would recommend for things like these, you could go and run a marketing campaign on like Facebook, right? Or Instagram or TikTok or something like that. That was a good shot. And you can regulate exactly how much money that takes. It's fine. And if you don't know how to run Facebook ads, just Google how to run Facebook ads. And there are probably a billion different videos that are way, way better than me. Look for something pretty long and solid. How to a new Hunters Guide for 2021. Like there are so many little online courses, free videos on this. It took me like half an hour to teach myself how to do it. It's shockingly easy just to learn to run basic ads. So that's one strategy. You can do the pay-per-click, kind of run a Facebook ad, little strat. That's fine. I don't like it. It costs money. Whatever, right? Typically, other free but potentially time-consuming marketing strategies you could do is, instead of going to communities, you could go to influencers, which is kind of the same thing because they have their own community, but it's more direct and individualized. So let's say I go to Instagram, right? Let's go to Instagram. Yeehaw. Instagram's doing Google ads. That's very funny. Instagram, I guess I probably can't scroll through it. I bet I can scroll through TikTok though. TikTok is also a good spot to experiment. Oh, is this going to play? No, thank goodness. Oh. And I'll look up skateboarding, right? Something like this. And top accounts, beautiful. This is great. Learn how to skate beat. 5,000 followers. Thrasher magazine, 4,000 followers. Looks like a skateboarder, 200, way too big. Another 4,000 followers, 11,000 followers. So there are a good number of smaller creators here. We want to go after ideally like 10,000, maybe even like 5,000. If you're brave and you have something to offer, maybe like 20,000. But you want to go after people, creators, individuals on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, LinkedIn, wherever your audience is. Hit them up, send them a message, be like, hey, I've watched your videos for the past week. Honestly, watch their stuff for like the past week, get to know them, understand what they do, and say, hey, really, really love your stuff. The stuff you're putting out, I personally vibe a ton. Here's why I like it. Be very specific, be very honest. These are human beings. They're not businesses. Here's why I like what you do. I would love to know if you would be down to do some kind of a little partnership. I'm in the process of trying to build a product. Would love to know if we could work together. Maybe I could make a cool video for you. You could post it. Who knows, right? And of course, things like this work a little bit better when you have a little bit more of a substantial product, or maybe a prototype or something more to show off. But these can be really, really effective at testing the market, because people are especially honest and cool and excited about things that their favorite creators post. So you're going to get a whole lot more positive feedback. And if you're going after some smaller creators, usually they don't charge anything. They're still individuals. They're just hype about cool things. And if you're building a cool thing, they're going to be hype about it. So that's another decent way, similar to the community aspect. You're dealing with more individual people in this case, and it's a little bit less random. And sometimes it can cost money if the creators want you to pay something. Like I make TikToks and people pay me for my TikToks, and I only have like 10,000 followers. So it's like totally depends. Depends on the individual entirely. But yeah, that's another really solid thing. And then if you're looking for more like a long-term marketing strategy, you could try like SEO and trying to rank on Google. That's a whole dang process. I don't want you to build a whole blog. For those of you who don't know, SEO is search engine optimization. It's basically how, when I Google something, right, the first stuff pops up. It's how Google knows what to put in the front. Typically, in order to rank for anything solid, you need to build a massive blog with hundreds of articles, right? We don't want to do that. We just want to answer very specific questions. And the way to do that without building some crazy big blog is to go to medium.com. It's basically an online blogging site where people can put a lot of different things, and they have great SEO. So if you write a really hyper specific article about solving a very specific problem, like if you break your skateboard all the time, here's what's I think is next, right? And then you write a small article about what you think the skateboarding industry is going to do, or a cool product that you're working on that you think would solve the problem, or whatever the heck, right? That can help you get SEO really quickly. It's still going to take a few months. Typically, it takes like 5 to 6 months for Google to rank any normal site. With Medium, I think it's a bit faster. It's like 2 to 3 months. Don't quote me on that. SEO is so random. Nobody knows what they're talking about. But that's what I've seen. That's a nice little SEO test. It's more long-term, but it could also work, and it's free. You just write an article. So those are probably the ones that I would recommend. You could hire a marketing team. Like you can always do bigger on marketing, but those are typically the ones that I would suggest for just testing little ideas, if that makes sense. I hope that answers your question. It's a really good question. Cool. Yeah. Neato. Any other questions? I don't know how much time we have left, but
Thanks, Max.
no problem. Have a good time at class. Thank you for hanging out and talking. Cool. Neato. Well, what? Cool. If there are no other questions, this has been wonderful. Thank you so much. Hope you have a great day. And feel free to reach out to me at any point. I am on LinkedIn, TikTok, Instagram. If you message me on some platform, I will get back to you. I'm very responsive. And my email, if you didn't catch it before, was Mirho@gmail.com. Email me anytime as well. Sweet. Dope.